You're listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner.
This is Zoom the TBT of Charge and Hayner. We're starting off a little late, but we're fashionably late, not terribly late. Our regional previews. Charge, what's going on tonight?
Oh, not too much. Yeah, no, excited to get these regional previews knocked out. Obviously, we've both been on the road quite a bit, and so to get these knocked out, less than 2 days away from tipping off. So can't wait to dive in and let's make some good predictions.
We waited to the very, very, very end on this one. We're going to make this work. Okay, so first of all, the Rucker region is a bit of a wild card. The teams here don't quite have the pedigree of some of the other regions. There's that really strong YGC team I know you're strong on, some veteran teams like Autism Army, the Hoopville Warriors, and then some new blood like Skip to My Lou, Peacock Nation, Big Five. So Charge, first of all, what do you think will be most interesting from a just general ethos standpoint of this region?
I think what's most interesting to me is see what playing outside on the concrete is going to change the game. Obviously, you're used to seeing these guys playing indoor, getting after it, getting on the floor, just really going hard. And does that change how people play? Will they still be as aggressive? Because obviously it's a different game jumping on the hard court versus, the hardwood out there. So that's what's going to be most interesting to me is the impact of playing outside, not only from that standpoint, but also you mentioned the weather earlier today in a tweet, what that impact's going to be, plus the wind and the shooting. So those are the things that are going to be really interesting about Rucker.
You remember the old thing from White Man Can't Jump? Well, sometimes it's like the wind. You have to go a little bit of a shot to the left or the right. So it could be interesting. Those double rims too. It's not going to be a shooter's paradise. These are going to be some pretty ugly, physical, rugged games. I wouldn't have it any other way. But yeah, weather looks like Saturday will probably hold. Sunday's a bit dicey. This might be an issue. So this is something we're going to track. I'll actually be there because it's just a short train ride for me. So I'll be there. We'll see what happens those days. But I can't wait to get started. So let's get right into the matchup. So Charge, number 1 seed YGC versus number 8 seed, the Illinois Hoopville Warriors. YGC backed by Marcus Smart. Hoopville Warriors, the 8th seed, a veteran team always comes to play. Let's start talking about the YGC roster. They had a really good roster. And that's a team you're really excited about and you're really high on.
Yeah, no, these are some guys that I followed through the G League, and obviously backed by Marcus Smart. It has some appeal, but Trey Davis absolutely can get a bucket anywhere, anytime. He'll rebound, he'll facilitate, and the same thing with Xavier Ratham-Mays. Both those guys, I think, are really built for the TBT. Just their styles of play, really built for kind of grinding it out outdoors. And those are two guys that I look for really standing out for YGC and trying to make a difference with those guys. And obviously, if you watched yesterday's episode, XRM, I drafted and look to see him hopefully running out of this region.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be pretty interesting. One thing I like about this roster, too, is like they're very age appropriate. They kept the right number of sort of veterans versus kids. They're basically really all in that 24 to 28, 29 range. They're all in the primes of their careers. They're all playing in decent leagues. They've mostly played professionally in the last few years, contributing to decent level teams. It's a really interesting squad. Also, with Marcus Smart being the defending NBA Defensive Player of the Year, you wonder if that sort of ethos of playing hard-nosed ball will conduct itself well on a blacktop environment where shooting will be at a premium. So I think this is a really interesting 1 seed, and I know it's one you're really high on. Going ahead to the next team, though, this is a veteran team, and the Chicago Hoopville Warriors are a really quality team. They've been one of the original teams. They've been involved this longer than we've been involved in this, which is very few teams can say that. They've got 5 TBT wins. They were a late ad last year, I believe, for Tubby Time, right? They came in for Tubby Time.
Yeah, they filled in a couple times and, stepped up when they had to. But I think the thing like you were kind of going with is this is going to be a gritty team. So you're not going to have a bunch of household names on this roster. But the grittiness, the toughness of Chicago is what you're going to find. And what a better place to put that on display than Rucker and playing outdoors.
I absolutely love to speaking of appropriate ranges. We got a 46-year-old playing on this team, which is older than me. So I absolutely
you still got a chance, Hayner. Any 50-years play yet? Let's see if I can pull that off.
Shout out to Keith Kloss. One of these days he's going to get in with the Redeem team.
Yeah, okay.
No, but I mean it's interesting. And the thing that's interesting about this team is some of them have played reasonably well professionally recently, but a lot of these guys really don't play professionally at the same level or not recently. So it's going to be much more of a street ball, sort of like rec league feel with this team. They've come to play before. They've always come a challenge. Again, 5 wins. But you wonder if they have enough to beat YGC or even come close. This would be a really interesting sort of warm-up game to see exactly what's going on here. Anyway, and I actually looked at those graphics. There was actually a small error, actually. I just realized I had a graphic problem. St. Peter's players. So the imperfections of our show, trying to get slides together. Shows, hey, that guy doesn't even play for that team. It does happen. We're going to roll with it. This matchup, however, is fascinating. We've actually had both these teams on our show. This is the HBCU United, which we've had as a full guest on our show. We also had Skip to My Lose GM Matt Ellerby on our show. Always a lot of fun to have Matt on. So this is a pretty interesting matchup. And we'll start with the team of Thomas Snacks Lee with HBCU. Now, this is a team that I think has a chance to win a game or two. They're high quality. Charge, what do people need to know about this team?
Yeah, I think this one's going to be fun between HBCU and Skip to My Lou. Obviously, hopefully Snacks has the green light to just let it fly there. But this one is most interesting to me because HBCU, they're definitely an upgrade from what they were kind of putting together last year. I think they have a lot of great shooters as well as Skip to My Lou. So this one here, I think, is going to be intriguing to see the impact on shooting. I think this is one where some of the strengths of both of these teams are going to be from the 3-point line, and can they still have the same efficiency and effectiveness is I think what's going to be the key here. But HBCU definitely reloaded well and going to have a really, really tough matchup.
Yeah, I like that too, because you said the shooting, and that's going to be at a premium outdoors because of the rims, because of the wind. Shooting outdoors is a completely different animal. But Brandon Tabb for a Swedish league basically shot 38% on almost 7 hoists a game. You've got Rob Cologne hitting 37% on 5 hoists a game. So it's a couple guys that really aren't bashful to shoot. One thing, look at this card too of the information, is this is a small team. This is not a large team. Your biggest guys are going to be 6, 7, that kind of range, unless they've added somebody late in the game. Worth mentioning too, these roster cards are developed throughout the cycle. Yeah. So they're not going to have every player. We're going to miss some. We're going to add some. Simply because the rosters, if you follow TBT enough, the rosters are in flux to the minute of the game. So the slides are really almost for a vibe and a general idea of who's available. It's quite possible we're missing a guy because of the nature of how the rosters are in constant flux for this event. But I see a small, gutty team, but not a very big team. So I wonder how it's going to work on the boards for these guys. I think it's a legitimate concern for this squad. They're going to have to play fast. Speaking of playing fast, though, you got guys like Skip to My Lou. Now, Skip to My Lou, obviously, Rafer Alston, an incredible, legendary player, one of the few people who's welcomed both on a professional hard court in the NBA and also to any street ball court ever, basically. He's basically the showroom to the boardroom kind of guy. He can do whatever he wants. So having him as a head coach is a huge luxury because you have somebody who really embodies what Rucker's about as your leader. But not only is he sort of this leader here, they've got a pretty nice roster, Charge.
Yeah, no, I think this roster came together very, very nicely, and I think I'm going to be kicking myself for not picking these guys further in the TBT or really grabbing any fantasy players off this team. But when you're talking about Tarpey, Roach, I mean, this is an athletic squad, which you mentioned. I just think with that vibe that Rafer Alston's going to bring to the team, they're going to be so hyped for this game. They're going to bring a lot of energy, a lot of physicality, and once again, a lot of shooters. So can that impact the game? But HBCU is going to be contending with the same challenges. But this is a fast team, physical team, going to get after you on defense, and just a solid roster that Matt put together this year. And not to mention in a short amount of time. I mean, I think it was maybe 2 days before the deadline.
Amazing.
Started to swing, and that's why Matt's one of the best GMs in TBT. He's been doing this for a long time with VCU Ram Nation, Bleed Virginia last year, and so he's got a lot of good connections. He can put a team together quickly. That's also a quality team. So hats off to Matt. We say this every year. The GM population, this is the time of year they're going crazy, pulling their hair out. Who's going to show? Who's not? Booking flights, doing this, and to have that turnaround, Matt did just an amazing job.
Yeah, and I mean, a couple of things looking at this card that stand out. Kerwin Roach obviously hitting almost 11 a game in the G League last season, a contributor at the guard spot. And then you've also got, let me see this, Terry Tarpley putting up 8.5 a game in the top league of France. So these are guys that really are contributing in the highest leagues that these players play in. So you've got some guys who are playing at a high level and contributing, which is masking, again, the lack of size. I know Matt is trying to add some size. I think he has added some size since then. I think some of the power players aren't on this roster. Having said that, though, a smaller team, but a team that's definitely going to pressure the ball and get out there. I think the matchup of HBCU and Skip My Lou from a speed and sort of like size standpoint will be pretty even. So I think it'll be a pretty interesting first round game. The big fear is they beat each other so much to give YGC a real easy second round game. So we're hoping back-to-back days, no one starts scratching themselves on the blacktop or, slipping on this concrete. So we needed the survivor of this game to give YGC a workout, I think.
Yep.
Charles, anything else you're seeing here?
No, I think we hit it all there. But this, I think, was going to be one of the more exciting first round games. There's a couple games I'm really excited at Rucker. This is one of the two that I'm just really excited. I think it's going to be a dogfight.
I think this one would be a lot of fun. Hopefully it lives up to the billing. Expats Big Five is pretty interesting. This is the Expats are obviously a collection of players for the most part that play in the Patriot League with a few sort of add-ons. And Big Five is Philadelphia players from the Big Five teams, which is everybody you think it is, but Drexel. You're talking about LaSalle. You're talking about Penn. You're talking about Temple, Nova. Who am I missing? I'm always missing one.
You're the college guy.
Yeah, I'm missing one. I don't know why I'm missing one. I'm going to be embarrassed now. It's fine. I'll survive. But you're talking about these really high quality players. But we're going to start the expats. So the Patriot League is one of the few leagues actually that doesn't, I believe, offer scholarships. I'm going to say that and look it up while you're talking. But these are guys who usually come from good academic schools. In fact, it's interesting because who helped get this event to Rucker? CJ McCollum. Where did CJ McCollum go? Lehigh. So there we go. Sort of an interesting tie into some of the teams versus who's coming. So, Charles, look at this roster. What's exciting about the expats here?
Yeah, I think the expats is just a good balanced team, a really deep team. I think one of the things, as Hayner mentioned, is the roster is going to be moving every day for the next 2 weeks. So, I try to update those every evening on social media to stay tuned for that. But obviously, Cam Oliver to me is kind of a big loss there. I mean, just a tough guy, physical guy that can do a lot for you, both scoring and rebounding defensively. So I think that's a big loss. We'll talk about that first. But once again, I think the thing here is going to be the quality and the depth of this team is going to be hard to match up to. I mean, some of these guys, once again, not household names to everyone who's going to be watching TBT, but some of these guys like Will Raymond have been stars in college and putting up great pro careers. And so, they came out last year and fought really, really hard. And I think this year is going to be a lot of the same against the Big Five.
Yeah, Josh Ezekiel putting up 14 in Mexico. You mentioned Will Raymond, obviously a person with a lot of experience TBT. He was actually a Boeheim's Army player 1 year. Actually, real quick, the Patriot League actually only recently started giving actual scholarships recently. That's a fairly neat thing. If you remember Donald Foyle back in the day, he went to a Patriot League school, and he was Colgate used to be a non-scholarship institution. So it's a pretty interesting roster here. I really like also there's some decent size on this roster, some decent experience. You got a few older players, some younger guys, and again, a pretty deep roster. But yeah, the Cam Oliver loss, and we're showing him on the roster still because these things got updated recently, but at the same time, he is no longer playing, it looks like, and that is a huge loss. Losing a guy who's putting up 13.5 a game in the G League last year for the South Bay Lakers. Massive loss, but still a team to be reckoned with. The Charge moving ahead, I'm actually fascinated. I do mean this, fascinated by the Big Five. I'm always kind of just love St. Joe's. That's one I forgot. There you go. St. Joe's one I forgot. Yeah, St. Joe's, LaSalle, Nova, Temple, and Penn. Thank you. And I've never had a good explanation. Maybe someone listening, we know people listen to the show, all dozens of them, why Drexel isn't making a Big Six. No one's ever gotten me a good explanation for this. I'm sure there's a reason. I have no idea. But it's a team that's going to embody that ethos of what Philly's about: tough, rugged players. So, Charge, what excites you about this Big Five squad?
I'm just excited about what they put together after, trying to get in with 20th and only last year. Rob, the GM, was on our show. They had some challenges with players' ability to show up last year. And instead of just kind of, saying, hey, we'll be there, just retooled and looked for 2022 for the rebuild. And he's done a great job putting that Philadelphia toughness on display. When you are able to get guys like Ramon Galloway, Quentin DeCozy, Jordan Price, just to name a couple, this is going to be a really, really good team. And these guys, once again, high-level pros that are going to score. And I think it's Philadelphia, so they're going to bring the toughness. And I think that's going to be the difference maker in this game, who really comes out. Big Five is going to come out swinging, can expat, take some of those shots that they give and compete. But this one here is going to be a really good game. Really deep.
I also say something really interesting about the Big Five and about Philly basketball in general is there is an outdoor basketball culture there that's very similar to other large urban areas. So they'll be treating the blacktop much more like a home court than some of these other teams will play. These guys play a lot outdoors than other people do. Also, I just love Galloway being on a team. He's played in this sort of event before. I still putting up 14 game at 31. The kind of tough, hard-nosed guard you have around. I mean, I absolutely just love him on this team. I mean, a lot. I think he's real key to them winning. I think it's a team that really can come out of the whole region. This is a team with a championship level DNA, and plus, this is without a doubt the region where it's the hardest to handicap because a lot of these guys aren't brand name teams. So we're kind of just working from scratch with a lot of these teams. And Big Five coming this hard as their opening roster. Makes for a really interesting opening salvo and definitely a worthy follower to the 20th and only prestige we're used to seeing out of this sort of region. Charge, we got one more game to talk about. Autism Army and Peacock Nation. And before we go to the stats, we actually have a short interview with the gentleman from Peacock Nation. I think we should run that right now. Should we, Charge?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so real quick, we're going to go ahead and we have the GM and head coach of Peacock Nation. We're going to bring them on right now. Good evening. This is ZoomTheTBT with Charge and Hayner, and I am here with the head coach and GM of Peacock Nation. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing tonight?
We're good. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's a little loud where you guys are at, but that's because you guys just finished one of your practices for minicamp. First of all, where are you practicing tonight?
We're practicing at Run Baby Run Arena, which is the new arena that St. Peter's plays in. So yeah, we're back home in the newly renovated facility.
Run Baby Run Arena. It's a great name. And a lot of people, the Peacock Nation, what school is that again? Let the people know. I think we know, but what's the school?
St. Peter's University, I think.
I
think all of America knows by now.
I think, weren't they in the news this March for something?
Yeah, a little something.
Yeah, a little something, a Elite Eight berth, which was probably the talk of the town. In fact, it's funny. This team has a lot in common with that. It's a second from bottom seed of a lightly regarded pedigree from Jersey City. So, hey, can lightning strike twice? First of all, when you saw a 7 seed, that felt about where you wanted to be looking at these other teams, correct?
Say that again. I didn't hear all of that.
No problem. So when you guys got the 7 seed for your bid, that was something you actually cherished, right? Being a lower seed. That's what you wanted, right?
I mean, that's how it's always been for St. Peter's, So coming into this event, we didn't expect anything less. We like being the underdog. It gives us more of a sense of purpose of why we're here, to show everyone that we belong, that we're just as competitive as any other team, and we still have something to prove.
Now this is go ahead.
No, all of us. Yeah, I'm just gonna pick. All of us play with a chip in our shoulder. We all been underdogs our whole careers, and so it's something we're used to. And we embrace it.
Totally makes sense. Can't wait to see you guys. I'll be there in person, so I can't wait. Now, you guys have an advantage of being literally right across the river from Manhattan. Like, you guys don't have to get in a hotel. A lot of your guys can literally take the PATH train right across, go right up the west side, and boom, you're at Rucker. I mean, literally, it's like just a couple trains and an MTA card. I mean, is that an advantage that you know the city and you know the area?
Yeah.
I
would let him talk about that. He's a New York City guy.
I wouldn't really say it's an advantage. I mean, at the end of the day, you still got to, no matter where you're coming from, even if you're home or not, you still got to show up and perform. I think it's a little bit more of a disadvantage because you can try to time to get there with the trains and things don't quite work out the way you want it because that's just how New York is. So, being not being from here kind of gives you more of an advantage because you're gonna give yourself that more time and more caution to get there or whatever. So being here, you kind of can get caught up in so much with family, friends, everybody want to get there, get tickets. So all those things plays a factor. Whereas when you're not the home team, you kind of get away from all that. You just kind of be free your mind, and you just come ready to play.
Now, Keedron, are you telling me that the MTA occasionally makes people late? Would you dare tell a fellow New Yorker that the trains occasionally make people late?
Of course,
Yeah.
of course.
I'm not a New Yorker.
That's all we know. All we know is how to be late. Even when we leave on time, we're late.
I'm not a New Yorker, but I work in the city and I know how the trains is. I take the city all the time.
I think it's going to be really interesting for the TBT community to see a New York regional. It's been a while since they've been in New York, and being outdoors will be. Let's get that for a minute. How excited are you guys to be playing at the historic Rucker? Like, there's a lot of teams that are kind of trying to dodge the outdoor court. I assume you guys are embracing the challenge.
A lot of our guys at first were questioning it, but they embraced it because, like you said, it's a Rucker Park. It's a legendary court. A lot of great players played there. It's a first-time event, so we all embracing the challenge, and we look forward to it.
You guys have a lot to live up to with your alma mater having such a great year this year. First of all, as a first-time TBT team, this is your first bid. You've tried to run before, obviously. This is the first time you've had an accepted bid. What have you learned during this process as a first-year team that you didn't expect about how TBT works?
Since last year, I did it last year. We almost got in. We were one of the last ones out. I feel like this year what I've learned, it's just one thing is just there's a lot of other variables that you can't really account for that you just have to you have to be lucky enough to have guys that are flexible. That's one, and guys that are bought in this thing because it's really you're just in for a week. You get guys together for a week, and then you just go play to try to play and win 6 games. So you need guys bought in, and you need guys that are able to adapt and able to figure it out with you. That's one thing I have learned.
Definitely,
my process.
It's always learning. Yeah. It's always tough in these events, too, because, you always have some player defections. Just guys get summer league deals. Guys' agents have them back out. Travel falls apart. So I always say you have to have a deep roster because you're always going to lose 1 or 2 guys. So, Keedron, real quick, first of all, tell me how you guys want to play this year. What can we expect? What kind of brand of basketball are we going to see out of Peacock Nation?
We're going to be aggressive. We're going to be the aggressive, right? After the run that the team had this year as far as going to the Elite 8, we want to build on that, and they were able to achieve those goals by playing aggressive defensively, controlling the game on both sides of the court and just taking it to the other team because we have nothing to lose. All the pressure's on the other team, right? Autism Army has been there. They've won 2 games, so everybody expects them to win. So we're coming in there just trying to manage the game, keep it close, and then at the end, anything can happen in the Elam ending, right? That's all we want to do. We want to get after it defensively, try to get some easy baskets, play free-flowing, play to our strengths, and then give ourselves a shot at the end of the game.
Yep. Absolutely. Talking a little bit about your opponent, in fact, we have the board up now for Autism Army as well. And that is a pretty solid roster. They've won twice before in their first run. They made a Super 16 last year. Is there anybody on that team you're really trying to scheme against early? I know guys like AJ English, Chris, all right, there's some really dangerous players on that team.
Yeah, no, without giving away, I don't really
don't give away all your strategy. Absolutely. Some other teams listen to this shit. Yeah.
I don't want to speak about it. Just know that we're aware of what's been going on. AJ English has been on a tear in New York City. He just had 71 points last night. So, that's a guy that, we're going to be worried about. So,
yeah. You just said 71 points?
Yeah, yes. 71 in Pro City.
In Nike Pro City.
It's a really good league too.
Yo, that's legit. That's legit.
So we're aware of those things, and we're just game planning, to come in there and do what we do best, and may the chips lay where they lay, and then at the end of the game, we want to be there to have a chance to win.
Okay, that makes sense. I also don't want to take up too much of your time, so I'll let you guys leave with this. You guys get back to practice, and I appreciate you coming on for a few minutes. What does the actual fans of Peacock Nation like? I assume you'd like some guys to make the trip from Jersey City to come to the Rucker. So tell me, why do your fans need to get to Rucker this weekend?
I would say we need our fans to come, one, to support. That's one, we need the support, and we're trying to bring that same energy, intensity, and our players, they're excited. Like, we've been going hard for, like, training camp started Monday. A lot of these guys came early and came into the gym, and we've been playing pickup, working out, skill work, and they're excited. We've all pretty much played with each other, so we have a feel for each other, and we're just going to play fast-paced and spread the core and be as aggressive as possible and play team basketball. That's what I expect. And fun, hopefully a fun endings with the Elam ending.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, I don't take up too much of your time, and I really appreciate you coming on. So thanks for coming on. This is the GC and head coach of Peacock Nation, and we're signing off. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Take care.
Take care. Have a good day.
Yeah, that was a great video. I mean, I love the energy they're bringing in this charge. I think it's really interesting. They're training right here again. Like, they're just a short path train right away from the city. So they'll be here. They'll get there faster than me, probably, because I'm in central Brooklyn. They're in Jersey City. They're actually going to beat me there. It's really funny because they actually were from their practice facility because they're practicing at the school, which is amazing, I think. So, Charge, first of all, Peacock Nation is obviously the St. Peter's guys. They went on a huge run this NCAA tournament. These aren't the same guys, but can they draw that same energy, you think, at Rucker?
Yeah, no, I think absolutely. Everybody loves rooting for the underdog, and obviously they're the 7 seed versus the 2 seed, and that's just kind of contagious. Even though they don't have the same guys from last year, everybody knows Peacock Nation now. Everyone knows Fly Peacock Fly, and I think that's one of the teams when you go to TBT when it's a little bit of a neutral court, people are going to gravitate towards that underdog, and so this isn't a kind of a non-alumni team. Nobody knows anything about this. Is going to be something that I think people get excited about and really rally behind. So I expect the fans that are in attendance at Rucker to get behind Peacock Nation and kind of root for an upset there.
I would think so too. Before we get to them, let's talk a little bit about Autism Army. Now, this is probably one of the teams that we thought earlier might be the 1 seed until YGC slipped such a strong roster. But they went, they made a Super 16 last year in Peoria. They actually now are part of an NFT project with Americana for Autism. So a lot of really interesting things going on. But Charge, like on this roster, guys like Chris Wright, Delroy James are really high quality. Who are you looking to be the sort of the standout player in this region?
Yeah, I really like AJ English. So if I was going to pick one guy to keep an eye on, I think AJ English is just going to be dynamic. Obviously, the Iowa Gales, which Gale Nation used to be one of the most underrated teams here. They got snubbed a number of times and unfortunately not part of TBT anymore, but hopefully we'll see them. Their players get back in like AJ English, but you got Delroy James, at the head of this team, just really the brand, the toughness that comes with Autism Army or Americana for Autism. I gotta just double check my
Americana
names now.
for Autism. That is what
yeah. So Delroy James, obviously the name and the physicality and the toughness that they bring and the brand that they're going to play with is going to be once again unprecedented. I think that's what Peacock Nation is going to stand for, because these guys are going to come out banging and they're going to be physical, and they got a lot of size on their team. Guys like Talib Zana, obviously Delroy James, are just going to be tough physical guys that are going to be tough to handle. So if Peacock Nation can stand up to some of those fights, then it's going to be a heck of a battle.
You know what I like about this roster, actually, which is something you don't see in this region. You see in a lot of other regions, but this regions, you'll notice, and again, we thank our stats department for helping out. And again, we're going to keep saying this, the rosters are in flux. There might be one guy we're missing. Don't harp on it. These might have been made out about a week ago when we were still doing prep, so guys move. But look at the year played. Almost everybody on this team played professionally somewhere last year. That's common in a lot of regions. It's not as common at the Rucker for some reason, because the teams are just a little more street ball-esque, so to speak. So these guys have professional experience within the last year, almost to a man, which means this team knows how to play. They know what to do, and they're a really dangerous team because of those facts. But talking about that, let's get into this. So Peacock Nation, producing player. So Derek Woods, that stud power forward who scored 15 in Mexico, this season, may not be able to play this year, it looks like, so he may not be coming out. We chose to highlight Desi Washington instead, a really quality point guard who put up 14 a game in French Pro B. But again, like, all it is they have the same kind of low seed, a 7 seed, which is pretty close to a 15 seed in 18 region. No one knows who they are. They're from Jersey City. They're lightly regarded. They're just some guys. So just some guys that proven to be dangerous in the past, though, right, Sarge?
Yeah, I think that's what the story is going to be, and what we talked about. Kind of, what I said post interview is, can they have lightning strike twice? And that's the thing at Rucker is if any team gets hot and just really plays together, has a good training camp in these next couple 2-3 days leading up to Rucker, I think anyone can beat anyone here. And these guys are still, all high level pros. You mentioned Desi Washington in the French Pro B, which is a great league, but you got guys in the top league in Germany. So you have high quality players that are true professionals. So it's don't sleep on Peacock Nation. And like I said, I anticipate the fans really get behind this team and pushing Autism Army to the brink.
Nick Griffin is shooting 43% on 6 hoists a game from 3 in Finland. That's the kind of spacing you need if you're going to pull an upset. That's a pretty dangerous little guy to look out for. So that's pretty interesting. All right, definitely see this being a fun game. So this is a region that's pretty interesting. And we're going to go to the picks now in a minute. But this region is pretty interesting. This was, I think, was this the hardest one to handicap, I think?
Yeah, because, I still truly believe that, and we've said it kind of from the beginning, is I still think you can just pick a name out of the hat and make a case for one of these 8 teams winning. I think, YGC has, some more to household names and backed by Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart, Skits My Lou's got that energy, athleticism. Big Five's got that physicality. Peacocks are going to have the fan base. So there's just a lot of great stories here coming together, and it's going to be a great region. So I think the quality a little bit lower than you might find in the Cincinnati Xavier region, but the quality of play is going to be fantastic, and they're going to be really tight, close games that fans are going to love watching.
I can't wait. As long as it's a rain, I'm going to push the button. Let's see what we picked. And we're actually not that far apart. We are pretty close on these, actually. The animation's a little slower due to web sharing, so it's show up on my screen. We'll see in a minute. So we also can say, there we go. Those are the picks. So obviously we both have YGC, Skip My Lou, and we differ, and we all have Autism Army. We differ a little on the Big 5 expats. I have expats, but I can see it going both ways. That's a tight game. I think almost all games you pick them. You went with YGC, which is a safe pick. I went to Skip My Lou just because the thing I'm going with is, having played in the event before, even though the team hasn't, having a experienced GM who's already led 2 really high quality teams with the star power of Skip coaching on a blacktop, it's hard to pick. Even if Skip's not playing, it's hard to pick against him on a blacktop. But Charles, you're going with YGC, it's just too easy to pick, right?
Yeah, I think that's one of those ones. There's just so many question marks here. It is the safe pick, as you mentioned. They go a little bit deeper than some of the guys I talked about with Trey Davis and XRM, Quincy Miller. I just think they got a little bit of deeper of high-level pros than some of the other squads may have. So just going to give them the edge and the nod over. I actually got Big 5 going against them in the regional.
Oh, there you go. Very interesting. All right, so Charge, that is one of our regional previews. There's only 7 to go. We're a little behind.
We'll keep it going.
Okay, so this has been episode 16 of Charge and Hater at ZoomTheTBT. Signing off.
Hope you enjoyed listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hater. Subscribe to YouTube, follow on Twitter, and give us your money.